Well, isn't that quite a sight? Welcome back, everybody. Doesn't it just make you happy to see a build working as intended? Between this episode and last, I went out and got a witch in a safari net, placed witches right here, and as you can see, we are generating infinite numbers of sticks, bottles, redstone, glowstone, and potions of healing. And it just pleases me to no end. I have to say, of all the mobs to put into an auto-spawner setup, witches are the absolute best. I mean, redstone and glowstone. That's crazy. Oh, and sugar. Not that we really need it, but anyway, it's just insanity. As you can see, I've made a couple of alterations here in this room since last time we saw it. I've switched out each of the levers for a carpenter's lever. I haven't decided what block to put as the base though, so if you're not familiar with carpenter's blocks, it allows you to basically change the shape of any block you like. You can put it either in the form of a lever or make angled corners, and the texture can be any block you like. I just have to take a block and right-click on this area, and it will take on that texture. I tried glowstone, but didn't like it. I'll try some other things eventually. I also added signs. These are convenient for figuring out exactly what you want to happen. So we can open and close the floor there for the mobs to fall down. We can open and close our access hatch here. We can turn the rancher on or off, the grinder on or off, and I have it on right now because witches can actually give themselves regeneration, and at least once I had witches overflowing here because they were all giving themselves regeneration and the turtles could not keep up, killing them fast enough. So the grinder's on, it's killing some of the witches before they have a chance to fall, which is helping the turtles to keep up. We can also turn the turtles on and off, and of course, I haven't labeled it, but we can completely stop spawning by putting the witch ball back in its place. Pretty awesome. I've added a few other mobs here, light mages and dark mages, from Ars Magica. I'm not entirely sure what they drop, but that is actually the reason why I have them here. I want to know. So I'll leave this running for a while, see what they can drop. You can see I also got a Carmenite Ghastling here. The ghasts can't spawn in this space here. I left it for a very long time and they just would not spawn. There are 4x4x4 areas, which I've read is what a ghast requires, but there must be some other necessity. It was not spawning any ghasts. The Carmenite Ghastlings are from Twilight Forest. They're a little smaller, but they also drop ghast tears, and they will spawn in here. Oh, I feel cruel about this. Okay, I'm actually going to replace the light mages with dark mages, because I feel guilty killing all the light mages. The dark mages are jerks, though. We're going to kill all of them. Sorry, you're a jerk. Time to die. Because of the witch spawner, I got enough glowstone to replace all of the buttons with Illumar buttons, which is great. As you saw when I used them, they all light up, when I hit them, which I think is cool. They're also slightly lighter than normal stone buttons, so they stand out better against the stone brick background. Also, I've added a trading post here. This will allow us to trade with any villagers that are in the spawn chamber, which is awesome. As soon as I get a villager in a safari net, we can spawn them and trade with them, and it'll be pretty great. One other thing I did, oh, it's gone now. If you look here, and I'm sorry if I explained this already, I can't actually recall whether I told you this, the grass color changes, and that is because we are right now in a magical forest biome. If we move out, we are in the grove biome that most of our base is encompassed by. The magical forest biome is right here, though, and I did that for one simple reason. I did it by planting silverwood saplings, and eventually one grew with a node, which changes the biome to magical forest biome. I did that because... Oh, really? I can't go down there? Okay. I did that because that is right above this area. And so, if we turn on our passive cursed earth-based mob spawner... Oh, there's one. No, that's a spider. It will now spawn not only skeletons, spiders, zombies, creepers, endermen, and dark mages, which spawned in it this whole time. It will also spawn pecks, or petches. I don't actually know how to pronounce that. Hopefully we'll see one eventually, although I haven't... Oh, there's one. Yep. Those guys will also spawn in here. Those are added by Thaumcraft, and the reason I was so keen on getting them to spawn is because they drop mana beans. Mana beans will be kind of crucial to our Thaumcraft setup, which we will make eventually when we get to it. They also drop occasionally wands. Now the important thing about these wands, you'll recall we made ourselves an iron-capped wooden wand before, but... Oops, wrong button. Let's see. Huh. I think I've updated versions since the last time I assigned this button. Let's see, controls, Thaumcraft, change focus, currently F. That's what I want it to be. What else is on F? Up. Let's change that to our default key, semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. Excellent. Now, if we hit F... Okay, I don't know what's wrong with this, but they have a focus. And the focus is Petch's Curse, which itself is okay. It will, I believe, give random status ailments to any mob it hits, as well as potentially doing a little bit of damage. Let's see if we can find something to test it on. But it is also used in a few Thaumcraft recipes. Oh, hi, poor chicken. Yep, a little bit of damage, random status ailment, in this case, slowness. So, we have access to that, if I can ever figure out how to get my hotkey to work. Don't worry, I'll get it eventually. Let's see, the other things I did, and I did a couple of things off camera and then kind of regretted I had done them off camera. They actually ended up being kind of significant. I have expanded our storage a little bit. Although we're going to work on this a bit today, I think. As you can see, I've added some Java barrels, which allows us to store a huge number of some items, like 222 stacks of bone meal, and that's only about half filling our potential for it. This is, in turn, clearing space from our storage drives that would otherwise be taken up, which has allowed us to store a great deal more stuff. I also added labels to each of our quarters: the magic quarter, the industrial quarter, the residential quarter, and the agricultural quarter. Let's see. In addition, one more thing, and again, I apologize for not doing this on camera. I really should have. I made this nifty device. Here we have an XP drain from open blocks. When you stand on it, the experience in your experience bar gets drained out. I have this connected, you can't see it, but via Ender IO conduits up to a fluid interface. So all the experience that we have can be emptied into our AE system. But we see here an XP shower. If we hit the switch, experience begins falling down. If we stand in it, we gain experience but also lose it. What is the advantage of this, you might ask? Well, the advantage of this is with our armor. Ars Magica allows us to imbue our armor when we get enough experience on it. So I stood here for a while, and all of my armor gained a large number of levels. So as you can see, I now have each piece completely maxed out. And let's take a look at what that gets us. So you saw me get Magitech goggles integration in my headpiece, but now it also gives me explosion damage resistance, magic damage resistance, and this one is really cool, hunger regeneration. That's right, I don't have to eat anymore. On our jetpack, we have burnout reduction that's letting us cast basically forever, as well as physical damage resistance, which is making us more resilient to all physical damage, magic damage resistance, and recoil. I think this might have been a mistake. I haven't been very impressed with it, but anytime a melee attacker hits us, it gets knocked back, which is okay. On our pants, we also have the magic damage resistance and dispelling, which is super cool. Negative status effects get removed from us periodically. And on our boots, here we go. Freedom of movement. This is making it so that slowing or other movement impairing effects do not actually do anything to us. So super cool. We are pretty crazily powerful now. And it's important to note, even if we switch out these armor pieces by standing in our little shower downstairs for long enough, all our new armor can have the same effects, or other equally awesome effects. Okay, so now that I've told you about what I did, unfortunately, off camera, let's talk about what I want to do today on camera. I think there are a lot of minor tasks that have been piling up around the base that we should start taking care of. To start with, I'm actually not pleased with this setup of our deep storage. I like that we can store lots of items, but it's hard to see them all. They're in these rows that clutter up the area, and I realized, why aren't I just putting them into the wall? That way we can look from here, we can see them all, have easy access. I think that's the better way to do it. And I'm just trying to think, do we want them in this wall? This is agricultural / residential. No, we'll do them in this wall. This wall is also clean, and there's nothing over here right now, so I think it's the superior thing. That wall has our XP shower. This wall has our mob spawner. Over here, we will put all of our storage stuff. Okay, so I'm going to clear out this wall and thus make some space to move all the barrels over. And then we will do that. I will probably also, well, no, I will definitely move all of the, what are these, storage buses first. I'm telling you guys, I just recorded an episode of Terra Firmacraft, and if you saw it, you might note it's, for the time being, probably my last episode of Terra Firmacraft. I plan on revisiting it, but not until they patch it. It's always such a revelation to come back to Test Pack and see how crazy fast we are. Wow. Just so speedy with both the speed boost from advanced genetics and the imbuement on our boots. We are crazy fast. But yeah, okay, I'm going to, well, I just mostly cleared that area out. Why don't I show you how I'm going to move everything? Let's see. Let's also just quickly take this dirt out. I added a little bit of redstone to all my Tinker's Construct tools. They are much faster now. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, sorry for that abrupt cut. My dog was barking and I don't know why, but needed to see what was up. Okay, I have cleared out an area here, and we will need one more thing, and that is ME conduit. So, if we run the conduit over this way, oops. There we go. Okay. There we go. So, now that we've got conduit run over, we can start transferring all the items. Now, let's, just to be safe, I am going to turn off, oops, Oh my. You can see that I have this igneous extruder in my inventory. I've been keeping it because I removed that setup we had over in the industrial corner hallway, where we had been making cobblestone. I got rid of that, just cleaned up the hallway. It looks like our AE system is probably filled up with liquid experience. So all of this XP is just going to go to waste if we don't grab it. Wow. Okay. Apparently it filled up quite a while ago because there is a lot of XP here. Goodness. Okay. Now that we have turned off the mob farm, wow. Crazy. We can be relatively confident that not a lot is going to come into the ME system. Heck, I'll even turn off our farm. As far as I know, nothing is now going to come into the AE system. So we can start moving all these things and not have any trouble with it. I am going to start by moving over the actual barrels. So you can see I have a lot of somewhat random things here. I've got all the mob spawns, or mob drops, and that's because I've basically just been taking the things that have started accumulating in the system and making barrels for them. So I'm going to start over on this side. So I'm going to try and keep the drops for each individual mob separated. You'll notice I don't have, yet at least, a barrel for rotten flesh, and that's because I was sending rotten flesh to the ME condenser for trashing, and I have since stopped that, so we'll set up a barrel for it soon. Most of my other barrels, I feel, make sense. They are items that I've created a lot of, one way or another. The only one that might not is this barrel of silicon. And I'm going to tell you right now that this did not work. The interesting thing about barrels is, or better barrels that is they have a built-in unifier, which should mean that items that have identical or dictionary entries will enter a barrel and convert to the same item. I haven't really been able to get that to work with the silicon here, though, even though if we look at our actual unifier here, I can turn Ender IO silicon into Applied Energistics silicon in the unifier. I haven't figured out how to get that working with the barrel yet. If any of you guys know, pass it on to me. I'd be really pleased to figure that out. Otherwise, I'll probably repurpose that barrel to something else. Okay, and the last thing we need to move is our filing cabinet, which you'll remember is getting items that cannot stack. Okay, I'm actually going to move this around a little bit. I want the filing cabinet here. You can see the tool I'm using to move these barrels is the dolly, which is also added by Jabba, and the explicit purpose of this is to move around the barrels. Okay, here we go. This here, this here. Oops. Okay, awesome. Now we can move all these storage buses. So this is a relatively expensive storage solution. Storage buses require quite a few resources. A lot of quartz, actually, is the primary thing that they cost, as well as some iron and a little bit of gold in the form of a processor. So, I can't actually see how each of them was pre-configured. I will just have to reconfigure them after I get them all hooked up here. So these allow us to treat each of these barrels as an extension of the AE system. And we can come and specifically set each of them by hitting this little wrench to store whatever is currently in the barrel. It's not strictly necessary, because the barrel can only store one item to begin with. Even if it's blank, it will only store the item that's already in the barrel. But I figure it can't hurt to specify a little bit more. And here you can see I have a fuzzy storage bus because, I don't know, I was trying to get this working, trying to store both silicon from Applied Energistics and silicon from Ender.io in here, hoping it would convert it all to whatever the form in the barrel already was. And I have not been able to get that working. Oh well. Okay, the final step here, and for now it will use more cable than it will eventually. Eventually we'll probably fill up this whole wall, in which case we will not need to run as much cable. But for now, we'll run cable over here. Okay, and now it's all hooked up to the AE system. This area is clear now. We have a lovely beginnings of a lovely wall, and I'll probably just make enough barrels and storage. Maybe just barrels. enough barrels to cover this wall, and eventually I will fill them. Let's see how many that would be. So this wall is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 times 6 is going to be 90 barrels total. Minus 10, I'll need to make 80 of them. Let's actually tell the AE system to do that. I'm sure that some resource will prove to be limiting. I'm not sure what yet. So, we'll be able to fill up that wall with barrels. That'll be pretty cool. Okay. That does mean we can put away our dolly and our quartz wrench. The next thing we should take care of is this igneous extruder. Oh, I did just remember what I was crafting an export bus for. I'll tell it to go again. We'll see if it actually works. So, as I said, I moved all the machines and barrels that had been in this corner. The barrels I just added to the AE system. Once their previous contents get a little bit too crowded, we will split them off to our new barrel wall. But you'll recall the other thing that was there was our system for creating infinite stone bricks. And I thought we should move it back here to the thermal expansion room. Now, I'm just trying to think where would be best to put this. Over here we have our magma crucible, and if we put them next to each other, we could theoretically do a lot without having to work through the AE system. But I think there's more room here on this wall. Let's just see what's down below. Okay, so the walls here line up. I don't think we will be able to put an aqueous accumulator on any of these walls, unfortunately. So we might as well put the igneous extruder next to the magma crucible. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. We will need the services of our Yeta wrench. We are going to move all of this over one. Oh, I forgot. Extra cells stuff does not just get wrenched. Okay. So move everything over one. We can, oops, place our conduit here, place our facades over that, put the brick back where it belongs here. That will allow us to put the magma crucible here. It will get input here. We will change its output to be up top and over on the side, which will mean we can put the tank up top, the fluid storage bus on top of that. Awesome. Then the igneous extruder can come here, gain input from the side, and instead of the bottom, also from the top, and then output everything to the right side. Okay, what does this mean for us? This means that depending upon the redstone signal that is entering this igneous extruder, it will produce whichever one of these we have selected. Now, what we need is a way to get water to this and a way to get items out. That's going to be relatively simple. I'll put an interface here. Any items that the extruder makes will get input into our AE system. Here I will put a fluid export bus that will send water into the igneous extruder. And somewhere downstairs I'll set up our aqueous accumulator to provide water to our AE system whenever it needs it. Okay guys, I just took a look at the time, and we are actually going quite a bit over. Although I know you guys have said you don't mind too much, but I think this will make a good wrapping up point. Between this episode and next, I will do those couple of changes I just described to get the igneous extruder up and running. And I'll also place all those barrels that I was talking about before. Next episode, I think we have some other things we can do. Well, we have many other things. One thing I'm eager for is a proper Thaumcraft room. This setup here I made just for getting pedestals is not going to keep us for very long. Alternately, well, we need a number of rooms, actually. We need a room for Thaumcraft, we need a room for Mistcraft. Blood magic is something I'd like to get into. And additionally, I want to upgrade our reactor using a turbine that will greatly increase the amount of power we get and hopefully make it so that we can run our mining laser up here at a net positive, which we have not been able to do. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.